Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into a seriously fascinating philosophical text today that explores the true nature of happiness, laughter, and the human spirit. If you've ever felt totally weighed down by the daily grind, or if you've wondered where lasting joy actually comes from, well, this document offers a remarkably simple perspective. We're going to unpack this whole thing together step by step.
Okay, let's dive into this with an absolutely incredible quote from the source. To laugh freely is an art that reduces mountain-like sorrows. The author doesn't just see laughter as a quick reaction. They frame it as an art form. Think about that for a second. When we learn to laugh freely, like from the absolute depths of our being, the text suggests that it literally shrinks our heaviest, most insurmountable burdens, those mountain-like sorrows, right down to size. It brings this vital message of enthusiasm and makes the rough edges of life incredibly smooth.
I actually want to ask you a question straight from the text. Who doesn't wish to talk to a smiling person and feel fulfilled? I mean, think about your own life. When you see someone with a gentle, genuine smile drawn across their face, you're instantly drawn to them, right? The source points out that a smiling face acts literally like a magnet. For people who already know you, that smile brings a kind of heavenly joy to your interactions. And for total strangers, it makes them eager and anxious just to get to know you.
Section 1. The magnetism of joy.
Let's be real. Without happiness, human existence can feel completely dull and uninspired. But as the text argues, happiness is the true beauty of life. Joy brings this undeniable enthusiasm and love into our everyday routines. It acts as an irresistible charm. In fact, the text uses a word really akin to captivation or enchantment. When you carry this happiness, you aren't just improving your own day, you're fundamentally changing the atmosphere for everyone who crosses your path. You're making the journey of life beautiful for all involved.
Section 2. The Oasis at Home.
We spend so much time, probably way too much time, searching the outside world for joy. But the author argues that our own home is actually a hidden oasis. The text paints these really vivid, beautiful pictures. Imagine a toddler running excitedly toward you. The author urges us not to scold them, but to pick them up and hold them, to discover that deep, silent mystery of joy they carry. Or think about a little daughter sitting on your shoulder, babbling away in that sweet, broken language that absolutely demands a gentle reply. Or even a playful young boy who, when asked what kind of bride he wants one day, innocently says he wants one who is soft as a flower and always laughing. These kids are described as nature's simple, pure, and innocent fountains of joy.
So this brings up a really crucial challenge for all of us. If a river of joy is flowing right at home, right there among these pure, innocent children, why on earth are we going anywhere else to look for it? The text asserts that the curiosity, the playfulness, and the uninhibited laughter happening right in our very own living rooms hold all the restorative happiness we could ever possibly need. We just have to be present enough to actually drink from that river.
Section 3. Leaving the burden at the door.
But how do we actually pull that off? Especially for professionals dealing with the really heavy stress of providing for a family. The author creates this powerful contrast here between work life and home life. In our work life, we're carrying immense professional worries, right? Huge burdens. But the text provides a super strict boundary. It advises that the absolute second you arrive home, you've got to leave those worries at the door. Do not bring work talk into the house. Instead, transition entirely into home life. Engage openly and fully with your mothers, sisters, and wives. Joke around, play with the kids, fill your stomach with good conversation and a lot of laughter.
If you intentionally leave the stress outside and you actively play and joke with your family, something literally magical happens. This daily mental reset doesn't just bring you immediate joy in the evening. The text promises that when you return to your professional duties the very next day, those difficult, exhausting tasks are suddenly going to feel incredibly simple, light, and even enjoyable. You're essentially recharging your inner battery through the sheer power of connection and play.
Section 4. Joy in the extremes.
Now the text takes a pretty dramatic shift here, and it does this to prove that external circumstances absolutely do not control our inner joy. To really drive this home, the author uses a shockingly intense example, a condemned murderer facing the gallows. The text actually asks, why shouldn't even this man laugh? And the profound reasoning given is that the physical body, the very thing that committed the sins and carried the heavy burden of guilt, is finally coming to an end. Even in the face of death, there's a twisted but profound relief, a reason to find a morbid yet completely genuine release through a smile. The text then moves to a slightly more relatable but still very heavy extreme. Imagine someone burdened by a massive family to feed. They lack any formal education, they aren't married, and they have absolutely no options other than endless, back-breaking hard work just to survive. The author asks pointedly, why shouldn't they too find a reason to smile? Their hard work is a noble necessity. And hey, despair isn't going to lighten the load, so why surrender the fundamental human right to be cheerful?
And that brings us to the final extreme example here. Absolute destitution. Even when there's no money, no grand house, literally nothing but a humble, fragile hut. Do poor families not laugh and play together with their kids? Of course they do. The text proves that a lack of wealth cannot stop the human spirit from experiencing joy. Even if your pockets are totally empty, the author says, just laugh freely for a little while.
Our final section, number 5, the inner light and true happiness. So, at the end of the day, where does true joy actually reside? Well, the author connects laughter directly to the state of the soul. There's a deeply profound instruction here. Trust God in joy and trust God in adversity. And the source issues a really strong warning with this. It says that praising the divine only when times are good and your pockets are full, but then crying and complaining the second adversity strikes, that's actually a form of deceit. It's just conditional, transactional faith. True joy requires a steady, unshakable trust regardless of the external weather. And this brilliantly illustrates the core philosophy of the entire text. You cannot hide the fire of the inner soul under the ashes of external behavior. I absolutely love that metaphor. You can try to suppress your feelings, you can put on a brave face, or on the flip side, you can try to fake being happy. But superficial actions, the ashes, can never truly mask a troubled, burning soul underneath. The truth of your internal state is always going to radiate outward. So the million-dollar question, how do we actually fix that internal state? Well, the text gives us these ultimate instructions for finding peace. First, you must completely ignore the judgment of the outside world. Second, tune in, listen closely to the voice of your own soul, and obey its true commands. And third, cultivate a pure, innocent, childlike heart. The author points out that our intellect is incredibly good at overcomplicating things. It twists our thoughts into these anxious little knots. But the heart has to remain simple and innocent if we want to experience real, lasting joy. To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this profound, really lingering question drawn exactly from the source text. Until the pure light of God illuminates the inner soul, where is happiness kept? It's such a powerful reminder. We can search our entire lives out there in the outside world, but until our inner self is illuminated by purity, truth, and innocent joy, true happiness simply has nowhere to live. I really hope this text sparks some deep personal reflection for you today on where you're currently looking for joy and how you might just find it waiting for you right at home. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey.